So God of War Ragnarok's director wants to make a new Castlevania game. We also have an update about Ragnarok DLC. And lastly, we've got a report about Final Fantasy XVI and pre-orders going live in December. Before we jump into that, if you could do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, share the video, helps the channel a ton, and I appreciate it. Now let's jump into this God of War Ragnarok director talking about making a new Castlevania game next, or wanting to make a new Castlevania game next. And this comes from the Kind of Funny Game Spoiler Cast podcast that they do. God of War Ragnarok's director, Eric Williams, has expressed his interest in creating a Castlevania game next, asking fans to help make it happen. Williams noted that he would love to get a hold of the Castlevania license in the future, following the success of the latest installment in the God of War series. So while he was on the podcast, in quotes, he says, "You guys can make it happen because you have the audience of the world here," when he was referring to getting the Castlevania license. And when speaking about the future, like after Ragnarok, he says, "I don't know what I'm doing next, but if somebody gives me that Castlevania license, we would love to make that." Now, of course, this could just be a conversation of something he wants to do, not necessarily something that actually is going to happen, because he does talk about it and, in quotes, saying he may get in a lot of trouble just from saying this. It sounded almost like jokingly, right? So I think that it's definitely something there that we got to keep in mind. It doesn't mean that they're actually going to do that, but rather that's just an interest that he has. And we have seen Konami license out the Silent Hill IP with lots of games coming, so it looks possible that Castlevania could have that happen as well, as long as the cards fall in the right place. I think Sony could have Santa Monica Studio work on a Castlevania game. Do I think that it's very likely to happen? Probably not, but it would be cool to see their take on a Castlevania game. While we're on the topic of Sony Santa Monica and God of War, in that same podcast, the God of War Ragnarok director Eric Williams talked about DLC being unlikely. Not in those exact words, but he was asked about future plans, if there would be any DLC for Ragnarok, and in quotes, he says, "I don't know, man. That game is big. Like, we put everything we had into it, so I wouldn't count on it." And that is pretty clear, to me at least, that there is likely no plans of DLC for God of War Ragnarok, and we didn't really see DLC for God of War 2018. However, we did see patches and updates, introduce new features and performance updates, as well as the 60 FPS patch that we got for the PS5. So I think God of War Ragnarok will still have those updates kind of happening. Like, I know photo mode's still supposed to come, and obviously balances and tweaks there to make the game more seamless and less bugs and all that. So it seems like that is probably the most plausible thing for God of War Ragnarok in terms of post-launch support and content. But I wouldn't count on any DLC because he's saying I wouldn't count on it. So who would know better than the director? Unless he's pulling the wool over eyes, and I just don't think that's the case here. Now, lastly, I want to talk to you guys about Final Fantasy XVI pre-orders. This happened yesterday, but it was such a slow news day for content that I would make that I decided to wait to talk about this in the following day's video because I figured there'd be more content to discuss. And this actually comes from Tom Henderson, clearly reliable. Like, we've talked about him endlessly in terms of things that he's leaked, so I am likely to believe that this is probably true. He says that Final Fantasy XVI pre-orders are to go live in December. Doesn't know if it's going to be December 7th or 8th, but leaning towards the 8th because of the Game Awards. Possibly the 7th if Sony decides to drop it through a PlayStation blog post, which is not out of the question given that Sony has been dropping a lot of stuff through the PlayStation blog posts in the past. Things as big as the PSVR 2 details, things as big as Final Fantasy XVI's trailer, amongst other stuff. So I wouldn't put it beyond the realm of possibility that they could go ahead and just drop another trailer via the PlayStation blog post and drop a pre-order date and release date. But I would hope, at least I think that they would want a presence at the Game Awards. And it makes sense because they haven't had a showcase this year. They clearly have no intentions of having a showcase. I would be shocked if we have a PlayStation showcase happen. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that this would be the best place for them to have a presence. You know, it's a big stage for games. It's huge. It's the biggest event outside of a PlayStation showcase. So I think that it would be very clear for them to want to have a presence there, right? Show that, hey, we're around. We're still here. We have deals. We have games. And Final Fantasy XVI's release date and pre-order date would be awesome there. I think that that would make a lot of sense. Amongst other stuff that they may show there, I don't know that they have any more plans outside of that, but I think at least having Final Fantasy XVI there would make a lot of sense. And this all really just lines up because Naoki Yoshida also said that, they would give us an update on the release date by the end of this year. And so the only event left till the end of this year is the Game Awards. And again, the only alternative to the Game Awards would be like a PS blog post, but that'd be so anticlimactic. Let's do it on a big stage. And they have a good relationship with Jeff Keighley. Obviously, we're expecting probably to see something from Kojima there. I don't know if it'll be Death Stranding 2 or what it'll be, but we know Kojima's going to be there. We got Final Fantasy XVI hopefully being there, and I wonder what else we could see there from Sony. But it's going to be interesting. It's coming up real soon. I look forward to it. I can't wait to see what they do for the Game Awards. I think we are in for a treat. Even if Final Fantasy XVI isn't there and it does come through a PlayStation blog post, I have a pretty good feeling that this Game Awards show will be probably one of the biggest ones yet. But that is all I have for you guys in today's video. Of course, another slowish kind of news day. It seems post Ragnarok, we're not going to have too much crazy news happening, although I hope something cool comes out of the Game Awards up until January, as I imagine it'll be slow during the holiday season for gaming news. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of God of War Ragnarok's director wanting to make a Castlevania game? Would you be into that? Do you think it's possible? How do you feel about God of War Ragnarok not getting DLC post-launch? And what do you think of this Final Fantasy XVI pre-order / trailer / release date situation happening at the Game Awards? As always, don't forget to subscribe, like, share the video. You can follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description. And if you want to go a step further and support the channel more, you can become a member for $1.99 a month Canadian, and every dollar does get reinvested back into the channel. I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Take care.